Brewster here with a new episode of Scales and Tales, and this is Diminish Your Blues. And technically this episode was a lesson that I submitted to Guitar Player magazine a few years ago. The lesson was actually put on their back burner, and then it was never actually picked up. Just as a reminder, I did write for Guitar Player magazine for nearly 6 years. And this lesson was a tribute to Robben Ford called Diminish Your Blues. And with Guitar Player magazine ceasing print production, literally right now, it's a pretty safe bet this lesson's not going to appear in Guitar Player magazine. So I decided to pull those lessons that were on the back burner and turn them into videos here on my channel. And this lesson's basically a tribute to Robben Ford. And even though the title, it sounds like some sort of inspirational self-help, seminar, we're literally talking about adding diminished flavors and tonalities to blues music. So if you're a Robben Ford fan, if you're curious about this diminished blues kind of flavor, or maybe you're just looking for some new licks to stick in your bag of tricks, buckle up. Here we go. So definitely, Robben Ford is a dynamite player. I've been a fan of his since I was in high school. His career goes all the way back to 1969. He started working with Charlie Musselwhite and eventually people like Joni Mitchell. Of course, famously and historically, joined forces with Miles Davis and toured and recorded with him for a while. Became a solo artist, and he fronted, Robben Ford and the Blue Line. Great albums there. His album Tiger Walk, a solo album, that's a brilliant album. And he has a lot of great music. And definitely Robben is known for this kind of blurring the line between, blues licks and diminished phrases. And that's basically the player I picked this, concept up from. But you can hear this from lots of other players. John Scofield, Scott Henderson, Steve Lukather, Guthrie Govan definitely dips into some of this kind of stuff, Andy Timmons and players like that. But anyway, here's an image with some of the people that Robben Ford's worked with in his career, just in case you're not familiar with him or his music. Okay, in this lesson we're going to basically combine pentatonic flavored licks and ideas with the half-whole diminished scale. And this entire lesson is going to be in the key of B or B7 right here. And just think of like a hybrid kind of pentatonic, major and minor third, combined. That's in the key of B right there. So think, B minor pentatonic with a D sharp added right there. Right? And so there's the pentatonic kind of flavor combined with the half-whole diminished scale, which lives right here. And you may have heard me play that during the opening jam. I literally just walked through the scale to kind of give, viewers an earful during that jam with the licks and stuff. So right there, it's literally a scale built of half steps and whole steps. Half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step. Something like that. There's an extended version of it right there. Very interesting sound, but that's the first step, is getting that kind of under your fingers and in your head. If you're confused about this, let's compare the sound and just walk through it. So here's B minor pentatonic, right? And to deliver that diminished flavor, let's do a D, diminished 7 arpeggio right there. And you can kind of hear what we're doing. There's some B minor pentatonic, B diminished 7. And if you really are paying attention there, look at that B diminished 7 arpeggio. There's part of our E7 chord waiting right there, right? So that's one reason why this works, because moving between the 1 to the 4 chord, you're kind of flirting with that E7 tonality, even though you're technically playing B diminished, half-whole diminished, or the diminished 7 arpeggio. That totally jams over E7 right there, right? But it's coming right out of that arpeggio. So it's really interesting to notice that. Right? So Robben loves to do this between the 1 and the 4 chords. So that would be B7 to E9. Or you could just do E7 too. But you know, B7 to E9. That kind of flavor right there. And then really investigate the scale. Find like where you can kind of weave, you know, from pentatonic to that diminished. Kind of finding that diminished flavor in there, and that's really cool. It's ear catching. It definitely, you know, grabs your attention like, hey, and whenever I hear a player doing this, it totally stops me like, hey, what was that? Because your ear definitely picks that up. Speaking of catching your ear, one thing Robben loves to do here he's basically setting up, you know, like that change to the 4 chord, and he's literally, you know, catching that major third, that G sharp, maybe also that D note right there, you know, just basically signaling that E7 change, but doing it with the scale run. Like that. So to give you a better view of this material, let's move it away from the box and move into the position right after the box in B minor pentatonic, this little 1 octave fragment right here. Right? And there's a B diminished 7 arpeggio we can add and kind of play with right here. Right? So here's pentatonic, and then that diminished 7 arpeggio. And you can definitely kind of make licks and phrases. I would highly recommend that just to really see, you know, like what we're doing right here. Just kind of a simple blues lick right there. And then convert it to diminished 7. So there's pentatonic. And then there's diminished 7. We can basically go back to the box again if you want to see it, you know, out of the box. You could do, and then right there. And you can see right there, it's just a second. You know, that diminished 7 arpeggio. And then back into pentatonic. Right? It's definitely eye and ear opening to kind of hear that flavor and that tonality. All right, now I'm going to share some licks and phrases, and that can really help you see how you can put all this together. And this first idea is like this. You know, something like that one more time. And we're basically starting in B7, and then at the end it moves to that E9. Like that. And we're basically ending with that G sharp, and then also, you know, targeting that B back there, which is part of E7. You know, which is really cool. But anyway, we're starting with that diminished 7. So it's kind of a hybrid between diminished 7 arpeggio and the minor pentatonic, like that. And then you're string skipping to the flat 5. That really slow, and then a position shift slide, and then like that. You know, something like that, moving, you know, from B7 to that E7 or E9. Now we can also change the ending of that. Instead of targeting, you know, that B note, we can actually target it and target that D right there, like this. You know, and once again, that's part of the E7, you know, chord right there. And that's really tasty right there. Like that. So the first one was this. And then the second one, kind of a choose your own adventure moment right there. But I love, playing with licks like that and finding different ways of making the lick happen. Here's a super tasty lick using this idea. One more time. And once again, it's over that 1 to 4 change. So we're starting with B diminished. And then right there, so really slow. And then you're grabbing that A and then that shift slide. And when you get to that A to that G sharp at the end, guess what's happening with that G sharp? That's part of the E7 there at the end. So that's so crafty right there. Kind of waiting for that E7. Tasty lick. Here's another really tasty idea, definitely in the style of Robben Ford, and I also played this during the opening jam. Something like this. One more time. So you can see right there, we're basically doing this kind of hammer-on pull-off with this little kind of double stop. Like kind of dyad right there. And then you're coming down. And lo and behold, there's that diminished 7, right? So this... And then you're going to basically shift that up a minor third. And then end with that A to B bend. So really slow. A little faster. And then at speed. I really love that blurry sound, and then just like a little hint of that diminished flavor, and then you hear it resolve back to minor pentatonic and that blues sound. All right, last but not least, I'm going to share this climbing diminished idea that ends with a blues lick like this. One more time. So right there, we're starting here. And then climbing up that way with those diminished 7 arpeggios. One more time. And then when you get there, you're going to shift that up a minor third. And then that little kind of smear bend on that D note. And then end on B. Right? Think of B.B. King or Albert King or somebody there at the end. But before that, like that. And I really like to put extra emphasis on those last notes. And kind of end with authority right there. Cool lick. That's going to wrap this episode of Scales and Tales with Diminish Your Blues. And you may have noticed that we didn't really run that full half-whole diminished scale really, at all. I mean, there were a couple times where I performed it and stuff, and I think I played it like that during the opening jam. But you don't really want to play the full scale up and down because it's going to sound weird. It's not going to fit. So really with Robben Ford or, Schofield or Henderson or Lukather or whoever you're listening to, Guthrie Govan or somebody that uses this, they just do it like a little bit, just a taste, just enough to kind of put it in your head or in your ear, and then they go right back to pentatonic. And then they weave into that diminished tonality and go right back to pentatonic. So it's almost like you're shifting gears, but you almost always shift back to pentatonic. And it's an interesting flavor, definitely ear-catching, very cool. It makes your licks and phrases kind of pop or stand out a little differently. And if you're finding yourself playing the same old tired pentatonic and blues licks, adding some of these diminished flavors and tonalities can really spice things up. And it's very inspiring too, especially when you hear somebody like Robben Ford or whoever, play licks like this. It's like, whoa, that's what this is. And definitely something cool to work on, something a little different. And we're literally taking that square peg and forcing it into the round hole, which is blues and pentatonic flavors. So anyway, leave some feedback and comments. Please subscribe to Nail Lessons, and I'll be back before you know it with more content and material. Thank you.